Yes, hello, hello. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Yes, yes, indeedy. All right, all right. Well, turn down those engines now. Thank you for coming today. I am your guest speaker, Jeffrey Greer, and we are here today because we want to talk about race cars, specifically the 1969 Camaro Z28 Yanko. It's a mouthful, but we'll go ahead and get right on through it. Now, we're here to talk about the Camaro today because we're wanting to talk about American ingenuity, right? It's very important to us that we understand what we see today out there in the 2016 Camaros. We want to know where that came from and why. So with that said, let's take a look at Chevy itself. Let's take a look at the legacy. Chevy has built something so beautiful and so righteous that we just want to go ahead and examine it a little closer and take account of all the numbers that it applies with and see why we even want to invest in something like this, right? So let's go ahead and also talk about the colors. The colors are important. Why? Because it creates that type of personality that everybody wants to achieve, man and machine, right? Giving that car a personality that you can relate to. It kind of more so, it's more of your inside being applied on a vehicle. And there's beautiful things about that. Let's take a look at some of the options that Chevrolet gave us back in 1969. Some of the main popular ones: Le Mans Blue, my personal favorite, Fathom Green, Hunger Orange, Daytona Yellow was a really popular one too, especially with the black racing stripes. You know what I'm talking about. You're nodding your head. But overall, the reason why they wanted to give so many different colors, because I mean there is a slew of them. I mean, we're talking about Glacier Blue, Dover White, we're talking about Garnet Red, Azure Turquoise. That's a little out there, right? They wanted to give the American people options on what type of color do you want. What's really important about the outside is the inside, right? Because it pulls you to the car. Now we got to pull you inside. So with that said, they were kind of basic. Again, it was 1969, so they only had black, they only had dark blue, a medium red. Why would you have medium red on the inside? Well, think about it. What's great with medium red? The Dover White on the outside, make it pop. Again, they wanted to give a personality to a car that is building a legacy for them today. Okay, so with all that said, now you're in the car, now you're looking at it, and now you say, well, where am I going to go? How am I going to go? Right? And that's important. So let's take a look at the engine. The engine itself is very, very interesting because you have to understand that this engine specifically comes from the Corvette. It's known as a L72. The size of it, 427 cubic inches. Okay, that's the length of the engine, the width of it, and the height all times together, and it gives you the approximate size. So for that time period, that was fairly large, especially for that smaller of a vehicle. 425 horsepower, 460 pounds of torque. Now, what's all this numbers mean? Well, the horsepower tells you approximately how much power itself the engine has, whereas torque tells you how much it takes to push all that power so you can go quick, right? To give you a better understanding with all this horsepower and all this torque and all that jargon, from a standstill point to 60 miles per hour, it only takes you 5.4 seconds. We're talking about a car that was made in 1969 compared to today. It's still really quick, right? And even in a quarter mile, which is over 1,300 feet, you're going at 114 miles per hour under 12 seconds, right? That is just beautiful. So when we take a look at this, we have to understand with all the design and all of the performance, what's holding this together? I'm glad you asked. What holds this all together is heavy-duty Z28 suspension. Now, Jeffrey, what's Z28? I'm glad you asked that too. Camaros, there's a lot of different models, right? You know how Mustangs have theirs? Well, ours is better. We have the RS, which is Rally Sport. Then you have the Super Sport, the LZ1, then the Z28. This one is very specific because it's made for performance only, right? So with that heavy duty suspension and only 15-inch wide rims, it gives room and area for the tires to be bigger, so that way you have more traction. The more traction you have, the better handling you have on the vehicle with that much horsepower. Is this all making sense? All right, awesome. Well, overall, what we also want to talk about is, well, come on. When you go out looking for a car, what's the one thing you have to consider? Price. Okay? Oh, having a little glitch right there. I apologize about that. But we're on track. That's what's important. Back in 1969, a little over $4,000. That was a lot of money at that period of time. Now, if you have the original engine, the original color, the original paint, you're talking about well over 40 grand. Okay, inflation has taken this vehicle and tenfolds it, right? But obviously you can buy it at a lower rate as long as you're willing to put in the time, the patience, the sweat, the blood, and the tears, and restore it yourself. Okay, so I guess the real question is, if you really just want to buy it as restored, are you willing to take a second mortgage out of it? Any questions? Yes, you in the back. I'm sorry, speak a little louder. It's almost like you're not talking. No, you're fine. Great. No, thank you. Great question. I think overall the question is, why do we want to invest something like this? Take a look around you. You see all these people, you see all your family, your friends, your loved ones, and you see a project also in front of you. It's family orientated. You could teach your sons and daughters how to work on a vehicle, whether man or woman. And that's the beauty of it. It can be appealing to anybody, right? So at the end of the day, when you look at this Camaro and you listen to it and you drive it, just ask yourself, where do you see yourself in the next 50 years when we take a look at cars today? Thank you.